Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to a new edition of Sports Shop 27. I'm your host, Jermaine Coulter. And I got my main man to the far right, KJ, a former Clemson cornerback from 99 to 2002. And
Oh, yeah.
today's special guest, we got a former coach in the house with the NFL. This guy
Right.
had some stints with the Washington Redskins at the time, Detroit Lions,
Come
Minnesota
on,
Vikings,
man. Long
and
list.
the Buffalo Bills. Long list. He's now
Yeah.
doing his own thing. He's out there coaching and
Mm-hmm.
also motivating the youth in certain areas. He's born from New Orleans, but raised Pensacola,
Warriors,
Florida.
baby.
Y'all help me give it up for Mr. Kirk.
Come on.
Coach
Kurt.
Broussard. What's going on,
Yeah,
Coach?
man. What's up, Kurt?
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me
Yeah,
on. I
man.
appreciate it. Yeah,
So
man.
glad
How's
to have you,
everything
man.
going?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, everything good, man. We're so glad to have you on the show.
That's a blessing. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
No
Oh,
problem.
My pleasure.
Everybody just watching, make sure you subscribe to our channel, hit that notification button. Kirk, for the people that don't know you, let them know a little bit about where you're from and your background.
Okay. So yeah, I was born in New Orleans. At a young age, my mom left New Orleans and we moved to Pensacola, which is my mom's hometown is Pensacola. My dad's hometown is New Orleans. So, when the marriage had problems, we up and left and went out to Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, my man. So, what age you start playing sports, and what sport was your first love growing up?
I would say my first love definitely had to be track and field. I was always the fastest kid in the neighborhood, and I moved to a few neighborhoods as a kid, and pretty much everywhere I went, I had that reputation of being the guy that they knock on my door and get me on the street barefoot to race somebody, and they would bet money on the side, So,
Oh.
I think once I kind of got to like elementary school, we started off with like field day and stuff like
There you
that.
go. Mm-hmm.
And I started beating everybody. So I went to a public school that had some fast kids, So there were a couple kids in my grade. There were two kids in my grade that I never could beat, and I didn't know why until later on. It turns out they had been held back a few years, and they was a little bit older than everybody else.
Yeah.
I was wondering why I couldn't beat these two guys, man. I was young for my grade. I mean, I think I was 8 years old in the fourth grade, turning 9. So I was a young kid, and these boys are like 11, 12 years old, So so field day, in Pensacola, all the public schools would get together and have a big track meet. And man, I don't think I ever lost a race up until like high school. It started to get a little more competitive. And we had a guy in our city that was top 3 in the nation. And he pretty much handled up on everybody. So outside of him, there was one guy on my team that was right there with me, guy by the name of Carl Thomas. He ended up being a Division I player as well at UCF. So, but outside of that, man, nobody in the district in the Panhandle could really touch me until I got to regionals. And not only did I have a guy in my district by the name of Marcus Bullock, who was, like I say, top 3 in the nation. The guy was 10 100 meters in high school, 10-1. And then we had a guy right down the road in Panama City, a guy named TJ Rush, who was 10 flat. He was a 10 flat 100-meter guy in high school. So it went to and at the time I probably was like 10 4s, 10 5s, maybe 10-3 on a good day. 10-3, yeah. So track was my first love. For me, football kind of came into play a little bit late in life. I wasn't one of those kids that played football, when I was 6, 7 years old. I was small. Moms thought I would get hurt, wouldn't let me play football. Yeah. I begged her to play, and ended up like I would say 4th grade. I actually snuck and played football, and I was on the team for like 2 or 3 months, and she never knew I was on the team. She thought I was like after school playing or something, but I was at football practice.
You was at the game.
Yeah, man. So I'm trying to think. Did she find out?
Did she find out?
I don't know if she found out or not, man. I think I just quit. Oh, I know what it was. They hit me in my stomach, and I quit. I was like, man, I can't even get hit. So I made a pad. I made a special pad, like an abdomen pad that don't even exist. I try to protect my stomach to keep playing, man. But man, I had so much speed, and they had me playing tight end. I'm like,
yeah,
man,
you know what the big
I'm as a
boys.
kid on the team. So
Yeah,
the coaches at the time were just like part-time dads, just throwing us out there. They didn't really evaluate us properly. And so I didn't play again until I think it was seventh grade. So I didn't play at all from that time in fourth grade to seventh grade. Seventh grade, I started playing in the Catholic League, and in my city, you know, you got public league, you got Catholic league, and the two don't really know anything about each other. I know about the public league because I lived in the neighborhood, and all the kids in the neighborhood played in the public league. And so, and then I went to the Catholic league, which was all like well-to-do, upper echelon type of financial background.
wealthy.
Yeah. So, you know, I was dominating the Catholic league. I mean, they thought I was the next thing coming, you know. So, going from the Catholic league to in the high school, you know, I was just basically in a situation to where, do I want to go to public high school or do I want to go to the Catholic high school? And at the time, I wanted to go with all my friends to the public high school. I didn't want to go to the Catholic high school, but the Catholic coach was begging, trying to get me to go play at the Catholic high school. They had a hefty tuition tag at the Catholic high school. So my mom was like, you know, we can't afford that. You know, that's out. So the coach was like, look, you just get here, keep a 2.0, and don't worry about no tuition. I'll make that happen myself. So not knowing, not really having any kind of good advisors in my life on that sports type of thing, I chose to go to the public school, which I probably should have went to the Catholic school because I would have got featured more. I would have been a star from a freshman. I probably would have been the starting quarterback, and because I was a quarterback at that time. And so that's kind of when I got started. To answer your question, you know, that first love was track, and then kind of evolved into football slowly. Yeah.
All right. Since you know played late in Catholic school, let's go into high school a little bit. Your freshman year, did you play freshman ball, JV, or varsity?
No, I didn't play football my freshman year. My mom said, "Look, you got to prove it in the classroom before you can play." Okay. So she was like, "Bring home a good report card." Man, I think I might have brought home 2 good report cards, and she still wouldn't let me play. She kind of reneged on her deal, and that was the best report cards I ever had in my life. You know, so. Did not get to play the first year of high school. 10th grade was a different story. I actually got to play in the 10th grade. By me coming from the Catholic school, the coaches really didn't know me because they don't really know the Catholic league. So they, instead of giving me any kind of opportunities to go straight to varsity, they kind of just threw me on JV, which was cool. You know, I got to kind of learn their system and develop. And I was a wide receiver. I didn't even get a shot at quarterback. I was a receiver on JV. And the JV season was short. You know, I think we played like 6 games or something like that. And it was like Thursday night, you know, or whatever. And then I think, and then so after the JV season ended, they kind of saw what I can do and they bumped me up to varsity. And right when I got bumped up to varsity, man, I started having this pain in my jaw. And I was a young kid, you know, at the time, like I said, I was a year behind. I was a year behind everyone else in my class because I started school early. So when I got to high school, I was 13, you know, and then my sophomore year, I was 14, you know. So I had it turns out I had a tumor in my jaw, and the tumor had gotten the size of an egg. And so they got me evaluated. Thank God it was not malignant. It was benign. They removed it, but the tumor had eaten away some of my jawbone. So doctor was like, your jawbone is razor thin. I don't think you should be playing football. You know, one hit on that jaw is going to break. So I missed a whole year of football. The 11th grade, didn't play. Now, meanwhile, you know, I'm still a part of the team. I still have a bond with a lot of the guys on the team. And our team, we started out the season in the 9th grade. They were 2-8. And then the next year, they were like 1-9. And then the next year, they were 2-8. And each year we had a new football coach. A new coach came in, new head coach came in every year.
And that's hard.
So we're a big school. I mean, we got like 2,500 kids, public school, you know, kind of rough. You know, you got multiple sides of the track at the same school, a lot of fights. I mean, we led the county in fights. It was kind of difficult just to go to school and get your lesson because every day a fight breaking out.
Somebody
So,
fighting.
yeah.
Wow.
So that part was a little bit difficult, but turns out once my jawbone kind of healed that senior year, we got a new coach, and he came in from Mississippi, and he changed the culture completely because we had so much talent. We had so much talent my 9th grade year. Even my 9th grade year, I was like, man, we're gonna win the state championship with all this talent. If we can get a coach to come in and mold us together and build that team camaraderie, that's what we were lacking.
Yeah.
And senior year, I go out first 3 games. We started off undefeated, and damn report cards come out, man. And I was not paying attention to. I was not locked into school. I was locked into the Sega Genesis, and I was locked into the girls. That's it. I mean, I'll be up to 3 a.m. on a Sega when I got to go to school the next day, or talking to a girl on the phone at night. And so the report cards came out, and mine wasn't pretty, man. My GPA had dropped, and I was off the team. So I got 3 games in that year. I got the 6 JV games, 2 varsity games my 10th grade year. So at that time, I only got 5 varsity games and 6 JV games. And so the team went on to win the state championship. My team went on to go 13-2. They won the high school state championship. I was not a part of the team to finish them out, because of my grades. So complete turnaround. Not only did we go 13-2, but we beat the #1 high school team in the nation. The USA Today, they rank all the teams. We beat Miami Southridge for the high school 6A state championship, the highest level in Florida. We beat them, and they were #1 in USA Today. They hadn't lost a game in 3 years. They were 30-something-0. And we knocked them off, and they came in from being from Miami. Like these country boys from Pensacola, man, we finna just dog them. And we walked the dog on them, man. I mean, they took. We won. Yeah, we won the game. We had I would say we had at least 8 Division I prospects on our team. We didn't have 8 guys go D1. We had some guys that had to go JUCO because of grades, but we had 8 D1 prospects, and we probably had our center went to Miami. He ended up being a starting center for the Miami Hurricanes. And then we had some DBs, man. That the Gators were on them, Florida State was on them, Miami was on them, but they had to go JUCO. So, and then I started running back, went to UCF D1. So we had some dogs. Our offensive line was like an average of 320 pounds, just big maulers. And and the boys took the weight room serious. So so that the season for me my hopes and dreams of like getting recruited or any of that type of stuff was pretty much down the toilet, because like I said, I didn't finish the season. Now, mind you, I'm a guy that can run a 4.3 on wet grass, barefooted, just waking up out of bed. I had the talent, but I wasn't able to put it together in other areas of my life, and I even had work ethic. I was a kid that when I was a young kid, I used to design the most elaborate training programs for myself. And I was brainwashed that I had to wake up at 4:30 in the morning and work out for 2 hours before school. And I was dedicated to doing it, and so, but I didn't have other areas of my life intact to kind of really put all that together. You know what I'm saying? So, like I say, didn't get recruited at this point, graduate high school, just trying to think about what's the next move. And, it wasn't going to be as a college football player at that point for me. So, yeah.
So what you do? I think you went into the military or something like that, right?
Yeah. So I had my mom. My family has a kind of like a military tradition. I got officers in my family. I got high-ranking military officers in my family that worked in the Pentagon.
Wow.
My grandfather was a World War II vet. My uncle is a colonel, full bird colonel. My other uncle was a major. I got another colonel in my family. So that was kind of the thing in my family. To go in the military. I was like, well, if I'm gonna go in, it got to be the Air Force. I ain't going nothing else but the Air Force. So,
For real.
I just prepared for the test and enlisted in the Air Force. And I had did ROTC in high school, so I did that 4 years. So I had a background in the ways and how do's and don'ts of the military. How so I was ready. So went in as an E3, became an element leader, became a platoon leader. And so went through basic, went into my training for my tech school. And unfortunately, man, towards the end of my tech school, which I was there several months, I had a really bad injury to my knee during training. And in the military, they tell you, hey, tough it out, put some ice on it. They give you some
Just like
pain meds
football.
and expect you to be back at work the next day. So I wrapped that sucker up in the ace bandages, iced it up, and I was back training. And I fought it out through the rest of the training. And it got so bad, man, that I couldn't even like walk. And the only thing they were able to do on my knee was like bone x-rays. They didn't give me an MRI. They didn't fix my knee. So at this point, I'm still a young cat. You know, I'm 17, 18. So I'm like disgruntled because I plan on have this military career. And now that I can't even function on my knee. It's like they're not taking me serious. I don't really have like a father to come in and say, hey, you need to demand this. You need to demand that. You know, I'm just kind of a kid that they pushed around. So I ended up getting out of the Air Force after like a year in. And so at that point, I'm sitting up here with a bad knee. Didn't know at the time I had an ACL tear, I had a meniscus tear, and so over time, a meniscus will kind of like it'll kind of heal over, the ligaments will, but you know, you still won't have a good meniscus. You won't have a stable knee. And so at that point, I was just trying to figure out my next move, man. And I moved to Tallahassee with my cousin. He was going to FAMU, and we were living right in these apartments next to Florida State. And lo and behold, man, I still had that football love. And in high school, in the playoffs, we had ran across this team, Bradenton Southeast. And I remember this kid, Peter Ward, was a wide receiver for Florida State. Lo and behold,
I played against Peter Ward. Yeah,
he was my next door neighbor, and in these apartments in Tallahassee.
Whoa.
And so Peter Ward, Lavarnius Coles, Talman Gardner was a receiver for Florida State. I started just working out with those guys just for the fun of it, you know. And so kind of got that love and interest back in football. But I was like, how can I get back in? What's my next move? What can I do? So I got the little bit of high school tape that I had, and I sent it off to every JUCO in America. Literally everyone, I mailed it to them. Got nothing up, got no responses off that, no bites off that. So, you know, I was just in the mall one day walking through Tallahassee Mall, and I give this man his credit to this day because my football journey would not have been started without him. Every time I see him, I thank him. And his name is David Wilson, and he lives in Tallahassee. He was the head coach of Lincoln High School in Tallahassee. And he saw me in the mall, and then he was like, hey, what are you doing now? You know, you're a dynamic kick returner, man. You took like 2 kicks back to the house on this. Like, you got to be playing college football somewhere. He remembered me. And I was like, no, sir. I kind of been out of the game. You know, I went in the military. You know, I gave him the whole rundown. So he just happened to have a flyer on him. He said, hey, look, I do an open workout every year for anybody with eligibility. Check it out. You know, come out, work out for these colleges and see how you do. And he gave me the flyer, man. And I looked it over, and I just went back, talked to my cousin about it, and I started working out, training, getting ready for this big opportunity. And he was like, look, there's a lot of JUCOs that attend, a lot of D2 schools, nothing fabulous, but it'll be a gateway back into the game. So I took it serious, man. I started training. I got in the best shape of my life. And then I still had the knee issue, right? So I always rocked a big knee brace, you know. And so my speed, you know, I feel like I didn't know it at the time, but the doctor told me that a lot of my muscles around my ACL got stronger and overcompensated for the lack of an ACL. I didn't know that at the time. So and I found out that Hines Ward, NFL receiver, also played with no ACL his whole career. So it is
I didn't know that.
It is possible, yeah.
Wow.
So got ready for this event, man. One thing I knew about it, I know I can run. If I don't test well on other things, I know when we do that 40-yard dash, I'm gonna open some eyes.
I got it.
Yeah. So I got out there, man. It was like 300 prospects out there, people from everywhere. So I was like, okay, all right. So yeah, lo and behold, after warm-ups, the first thing we did was the 40. And I got up there, man. I was nervous. The grass had that morning dew on the grass. I was like, oh,
yeah, a little wet, damn.
Yep. And I slipped when I started, man. And I ran a 4.58. I was like, damn, man, you know. And that still was a decent time for that day, you know.
Right then.
Yeah. And so I was like, all right, I got to. My cousin gave me a little pep talk on the sideline. And then I was like, all right, okay. So I got back up, bro. And I just imagined, like, because I had came from the street life a little bit too before this. I'm leaving all that out, a little
Yeah,
dope
yeah.
business, a little street life, but
Yeah.
because the neighborhood I'm from is just a normal thing. Everybody in that business, and
All right.
so I started like I just imagined that the police was chasing me, man. So I I got
Wow.
up, man, and I ran a 4.37, man. It was the fastest time of the day, and that opened some eyes. By the time I got home, this was before cell phones kicked off. This was like in '98, and so when I got home, my cousin's like, "Hey, 7 schools called you," and I started calling. I was so excited, man, because my dream was to play college football. I never wanted to go in the military. And
Mhm.
so a lot of these schools are like D2 schools and NAIE schools and JUCOs, but I didn't care. I wasn't picky. I wouldn't know. I was never no kid like I got to go D1. I never felt like that. I just felt like anywhere if I can get in there, I can show people what I can do. And then
You
look how it is today. You can play anywhere, then you can transfer up. But we didn't have that. So,
no.
um, yep. So at that point, man, I started calling the schools back, seeing who offered what and seeing like matching it up to where I would want to go. And at the time, man, I was working as a security guard, man. I was like a bouncer at night and at a nightclub. And so I didn't have much money saved up. I had a little backpack, doing my thing on that side too. But
Yeah.
I ended up talking to I talked to a school in California, Pasadena City College, was one of the schools I talked to. And the thing I liked about them was I just liked the system that the coach had. I liked the experience that the coach had. I think he had worked a little bit on the pro level, and he recruited me the hardest, as well as it was a JUCO, but the facilities that they had were first class. Like they had just dumped like at that time $30 million into their facilities, so they had first class facilities, like damn near small D1 facility for a JUCO. So I chose to go to Pasadena City College, and man, I got on the Greyhound bus, and I didn't have much money, and I took a long bus ride from Pensacola, Florida, all the way to Los Angeles. And
How many days it take you? Man.
it took a day just to get through Texas.
Yep. God, man.
Yeah. And I was always like a go-getter. I like the girls. So when I got to Texas, I met a beautiful girl on the bus, and that got me through the trip because we sat together. And that got me through the trip.
To talk to.
Yeah. I'm giving y'all the raw, uncut, the real, So
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
yeah. So I got to LA. I didn't know didn't know anyone in LA. Didn't even have a family out there, anything. The coach picked me up from the Greyhound station. The Greyhound, that bus was funky too, man. It was some smells in that bus.
I bet it was.
Yeah, man. So he picked me up, man. The first place we drove through was Suitcase City, where all the homeless people live at on the streets in LA, man. I saw that. It was damn near culture shock for me, man, just seeing people living out there like that.
Yeah.
So the first 2 weeks, the coach and I had bonded so tight on the phone. The first 2 weeks, man, I stayed with the coach, with his wife, his kids, and slept in his kids' bunk beds and played with his kids every day. And so eventually he got me into this house. They called the house the Florida House. He had a bunch of guys on the team from Florida, and he put them all in one house across the street from the JUCO. So I stayed in a 3-bedroom house with 13 guys in one bedroom, one house. So it had 3 bedrooms. You had 3 guys in each room. You had 2 bunk bed. You had a bunk bed in each room, a single bed in each room. Everybody had the big foot lockers to lock their stuff up so they don't have no problems.
Yeah,
we had a guy from Jacksonville sleeping on the couch. We had a guy from Plantation sleeping on an air mattress behind the couch, and we had 2 of us sleeping in the dining room on air mattresses. But I wasn't complaining, man. I was getting an opportunity to get on the field, and that's more than I had 6 months prior. So, yep. So the house was here go the thing. We had a lot of guys living in the house, but we didn't have a lot of guys in the house that much because the guys would get out there and find them a girlfriend, and they was at their girlfriend house more than they was at the house.
Oh, okay.
Usually wasn't nobody really in the house, and then so. My man, we get on the Madden games and get the $5 Madden games, get to fighting over them games, and everybody bragging about where they from and how hard it is where they from.
Where they come from, yeah.
It was some fun times.
Make it here.
Yeah. Man. So yeah, man. So got out there and played at Pasadena for a year, and it went well, man. I had a lot of good success there. They moved me to free safety, and I got a good start. The only thing about it is the coach. After the first year, the coach bounced, and so I was like, I didn't really care for the new coach that came in, and I started making some calls, and I ended up transferring to another JUCO called Citrus College, and in Glendoria, California. Played there a couple of years, became all conference, and then my DB coach from Citrus, he got a job. He got a job working coaching in the Arena Football League. And so he was like, "Man, I'd love to bring you with me." I was not really even thinking about transfer. I was thinking about transferring to a four-year school, of course. But once he brought that up to me, I was never thinking about arena football or any of that type of stuff or that route, And so he convinced me to go with him to NIFL team. It was basically a National Indoor Football League team in San Diego, and so went with him, man. Did pretty well. Started getting paid some money to play ball. Wasn't a lot, but when you're a good player, you can kind of start getting money under the table. And I was getting a little bit of that. So, and they gave me a free, beautiful townhouse in San Diego, and I was living the life. I was still a young guy, probably like 22, 23 years old. And yeah, and so the same coach that I had a real tight bond with him, he got a job in the German football league. It's called a GFL in Germany. And he was like, "Hey, you want to go to Germany?" And I was like, "Man, I don't even have a passport. I've never been out of the United States." So he's like, "The team will take care of all that." So they took care of all that, got me a flight. Next thing you know, I'm in Germany playing football in the GFL. And so that was a great experience. Germany was great for me because it was new. It was a different culture. I wasn't there for very long. But the time that I was there, I my MO, what I was on. So I had a good time. Yeah. So I ended up having a lot of still same problems with that knee, man. It started to really catch up on me. And I ended up tearing, I already had a torn ACL. I ended up tearing my lateral collateral ligament as well. And at that point, man, it was too much to like rehab it and go on. And so I ended up going back to Florida. I ended up moving to Tampa, and I got a job working in student loans, and I was just trying to figure out my next move, man. And I wanted to go back to school, finish my degree. I wanted to get my degree in business finance, and my ultimate goal was to work in the stock market or for a hedge fund. That's what I want to be an investment banker.
All
right. And I had a friend of mine that told me, he's like, "You should be a football coach." I was like, "Football coach, man." I never was even in that mind frame. He's like, "Man, you're a smart player, man. I think you would be a really good coach." He kept bugging me about it, man. So I was like, and lo and behold, a girl I was dating at the time, she had a kid, and I would pick her kid up from daycare for her. And the daycare worker, I noticed he was a big dude, like not no typical daycare worker. I mean, dude was like 6'5", 300, 300 plus.
Yeah.
I was like, "Man, you ever play ball?" He's like, "Yeah, I used to play college ball." I was like, "What you doing now?" Besides working at the daycare. He's like, "Oh, I just got an internship for this arena football team. I'm trying to get into coaching." And he gave me the number, and I contacted him. And I ended up getting an interview there. And they were like, "We like you, but we just don't have the space to kind of put you in where right now." But they called another team for me down the road in in Orlando, and they set something up for me to go interview for an arena football job in Orlando with a guy named Marquette Smith, who was a former #1 player in the nation, played at Florida State, all-world running back way back a long time ago. But he was the head coach of an arena team in Orlando. Went out there, interviewed. He liked me, but he was concerned about the commute that I would have from Tampa to Orlando. So then I think he called another coach in Lakeland, Florida, which was a little bit closer. The guy's name is Teddy Keaton, still a friend of mine to this day. He's actually the head coach at Clark Atlanta College. And
talk about that, Jermaine.
Yep.
Tell me.
So he brought me in for an interview, and he liked me. and he said I reminded him a lot of himself because I was hungry. I was real hungry. So he gave me an internship just to recruit players. And he said, I'll let you coach the fullbacks, and I'll let you recruit players. And I took it serious, man. I was like, look, this is my opportunity, So I started recruiting all these players, man. I started from the NFL cut list. I would get contact information from all the guys that had been released from the league. And I was trying to convince those guys to come play in the lower level Arena Football League, which is not an easy sell. But we already had some good pieces to have a good team that he had already put together. We were just missing a few things. We had a dynamic defensive tackle that had been a former Alabama defensive tackle and had went to camp with the Cleveland Browns. That stout 6'2", 325 guy by the name of Robert Branch. We already had him in the middle. We just needed some ends that could put pressure on the quarterback. And I went and found the two baddest damn ends that you can possibly get. They both had been cut from the NFL. They both were 6'6". They both was about 280. They both came from La Tech. They were La Tech defensive ends. And like I said, they both had got hard looks in camp, but they didn't make it. Now, with them being so tall, with those long frames at 6'6", and they could rush the passer, and you got Robert Branch in the middle, former Alabama D tackle that was just so strong they could pick centers up and push them back in the quarterback. Wow. You had him in the middle and them ends. Our defense couldn't be touched. And then we had a linebacker that had been a player of the year in NFL Europe and had been in camp with the Dolphins. He was a tackling machine. And we had some other guys. We were just loaded, bro. And wow. So when I brought them ends in and I brought a few receivers in, it was kind of like the icing on the cake. The team started off 13-0, and nobody couldn't touch us, man. We went down to Miami and played against Dante Culpepper's team at the time. Dante Culpepper, former quarterback, he had an arena team in Miami, stumped his team. And I'll never forget this. And if he watched this interview, he might remember it too. So Coach Teddy Keaton, the head coach at the time, when we were 13-0, he brought the team up in the locker room. And I never forget, he said, if Kirk keep bringing in these players the way he is, one day he going to have me coaching the Buffalo Bills. And lo and behold, fast forward, I actually got to coach the Buffalo Bills later on, but it was just ironic that he said that.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah, man. So at the end of the season, I had another team that was interested in me in Mississippi, and it was an expansion team. And it was an opportunity for me to go there and build my own team with my own stamp, with really, just my players. And so it was as an assistant coach, but I was going to be the director of player personnel and the co-offense coordinator. We had a great head coach, Brian Brentz, one of my good friends to this day. But he entrusted me to kind of build that roster. I could sign anybody I wanted. I could host my own free agent camps. I had all the power to do all that. And in Lakeland, I probably wouldn't have had as much power, but they still wanted to keep me in Lakeland. And so they kind of had a little back and forth money war, like who's going to give me the most money. But I ended up going to Mississippi because I felt like I could make my own name for myself. And I was thinking that if I really tore this arena league up, the NFL would come knocking. I thought the NFL would look at those coaches in the lower leagues, like the NFL Europe and like the arena leagues, and identify the really stars of young stars of coaching, bring them up. But it wasn't like that, man. It wasn't like that at all. And so when I got to Mississippi, I built a great team, great roster, not alone. I mean, the head coach and another one of our assistants, they had some connections as well to get us some other key pieces. But I brought so many guys to that team from Florida. It was like that team was like half the players were from Florida in Mississippi. So that really stood out, man. And the newspaper was so like just in awe about it. They did a story on me, like, how can you get excuse me, all these NFL guys to come play in the arena league? What are you telling them? Well, this is my advantage. So since I was on a quest to become an NFL coach, I would always go to the combine. I would always go to the Senior Bowl, and I would collect business cards, and I would contact them, the NFL coaches, and I would build relationships with them, just wanting to get mentored, not like hustling them for a job.
Yeah.
just trying to like build a friendship
Get some
with him.
advice and stuff. Yeah.
Get some advice, learn how they teach whatever they teach that I was interested in.
Uh-huh.
So I guess a lot of them saw how genuine I was, and I was able to establish relationships. My Rolodex, it got pretty deep with NFL coaches that I had relationship with. And so in the recruiting process, when I'm trying to get guys that just been cut from the NFL, I'm like, if you're gonna go play for any arena team, come play for us because I got more NFL connections than any arena
NFL
coach.
connections,
That's all
yeah.
I do, So I was able to convince some big time guys. We had so many SEC guys. Probably one of our first great recruits was a guy named Derek White, and I'll never forget him if you ever see this interview. But I recruited him so hard, and I had so much love for him. He was like my little brother. That's how much we never met. We never met until he got to camp. It was just over the phone. And well, anyway, he was under Mark Ricks at Georgia. He was a Georgia Bulldog. He was a starting linebacker at Georgia. Derek White. He's from Atlanta. He played with Pac-Man Jones in high school.
Okay.
And when I tell you to this day, I never seen nobody come off, put their hand in the dirt and come off the edge like he could time a snap. It was like on some Javon Kirsch type stuff. He would be in the backfield so fast it was unbelievable. So once we got him, it was a difference maker. The dude had 29 sacks in one season for us, just always in the quarterback face.
Hey.
So he's a guy that probably should have been in the NFL if he had everything together, but he ended up getting two DUIs at Georgia and got kicked off the team. And it was just immaturity. It was immaturity because when we got him, he was the most high character kid we had. He was yes sir, no sir, no problems. So I think it was just immaturity at Georgia.
Okay.
And so we got D White and that was a difference maker. And then we got a great quarterback. Our quarterback had been released from the Cincinnati Bengals. He was Carson Palmer's backup. He's big, 6'5" quarterback. In the arena, you could throw a lot of touchdowns, but this guy had thrown 100 touchdowns 3 years in a row. So we knew we had some offense. And then I got three of the baddest receivers that probably ever touched an arena football field. I had a guy that was 6'3", kind of like a little baby Megatron before there was a Megatron. And then I had two other receivers. One that got cut from the Jets, and I had another receiver he was a small college guy, but he was a dog. And then we just had so many pieces around him, man. We started the season off 11-0. Nobody could touch it. We was running up the score on everybody we played, and so we had some success. I think we won the division, we won the conference championship, but we were missing something when we got to the championship. We didn't have enough dogs to compete with the team we played. They had a few more dogs than we had. So that was a great run that didn't quite work out. So just to fast forward, during this time, I would get a variety of agents that would call me trying to get their client to play somewhere that had just been released from the league. So they were like, hey, we get them in the arena league, So I developed a relationship with this guy. I'll never forget to this day if he watched this interview. Nathaniel Armstead. He probably was one of the biggest guys responsible for helping me get an opportunity to coach in the league. So one day, after having a long relationship with him on the phone, he asked me, is that your end goal to coach in arena league? I was like, no, I go to every Senior Bowl. I go to every combine. I can tell you almost every assistant coach's birthday. I know their family name. I sent them Christmas cards. I sent them birthday cards. That was my hustle. That's the way I built my relationships with these coaches. So when I get there, I'm just not some everyday guy trying to hustle you for a job, but I'm the guy that sent you the Christmas card. Hey, I'm the guy that's begging you to mentor me, Yeah. And so, like I said, I had flashcards with every decision maker's picture, whether it be a GM, a director of player personnel, or any type, whatever coach that I felt like was a decision maker. I had flashcards in my hotel room at the Senior Bowl, learning their faces, learning their names. So when I'm out and about at NFL events and I see them, I know who it is. Because, you don't always recognize assistant coaches or, anybody that's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So, like I said, he told me one day, the agent, Nathaniel Armstead, he said, Leslie Frazier, at the time, the Minnesota Vikings defense coordinator, he's like, he was my college roommate and one of my best friends. I can introduce you to him if you like. Like, heck yeah. So He introduced me to Coach Leslie Frazier, who is now the defense coordinator for the Bills, I believe. And I had to build that relationship with that man probably for about 3 years. He would send me to do like little kids camps and stuff like that. Never nothing. Never like not bringing me in or any of that stuff, but just keeping in touch with him. After 3 years, one day he called me. He said, "You really want to be here?" I was like, "Yes, sir." He was like, "All right." He called me on a Sunday night. He was like, "All right, be here Tuesday. We start mini camp." And I didn't have the money or anything like that. But my cousin, Brian Shumo, bought me a flight to Minnesota. And the next thing you know, I'm on the field putting Adrian Peterson through drills. And I'm just a little intern. I'm not getting paid. I'm not getting housed. They wouldn't even buy my flight. But I didn't care about that. And that would be my message to young people, young coaches. Don't chase the check. Don't chase the dollars. Just chase a solid opportunity. And if you work hard enough, you're gonna get everything else that you deserve,
Right.
And
well,
so
let's go ahead and get into a video real quick. I got a video with you doing the mentor and motivating players. For everybody that's watching, make sure you subscribe.
Perfect timing.
And follow us on Spotify, D's, and Instagram. We are former Buffalo Bills assistant coach, Coach Kirk Broussard. All right, stay with us, Kirk. We don't own the rights to this video or the music in it, okay?
Good morning. How are you? Yeah, I'm excited. Excited to be here, Salem, Virginia. We got the sun out. I mean, what more could you ask for football weather? My name is Kirk Broussard. My background in football spans for the last 13 years. Spent 6 years off and on in the National Football League with 4 different teams, with the Buffalo Bills, the Detroit Lions, the Washington Redskins, and the Minnesota Vikings. And previous to that, I spent some time in the Arena League and various arena leagues. I started off with a team called the Lakeland Thunderbolts, Arena 2 level team down in Florida, and worked my way up since 2005 in the coaching rank. The theme of the game is, of course, being a Dream Bowl is based around the dream of, pursuing whatever that is that you may have as a dream, and also doing it on the special weekend of Dr. King's birthday is also unique and special as well. So, I told the guys previously when I first came in about dreams. My dreams started out with $500 in a Greyhound bus, 2-day bus ride from Florida to California, chasing my football dream to play junior college football. I slept on an air mattress for 2 semesters, slept in a dining room in a house with 13 guys in a 3-bedroom house. But I didn't give up on a dream, and I could have easily gave up because it was hard. And a lot of kids give up these days because it's hard. And I think it's important that, games like this are in place to kind of continue to motivate guys to chase that dream. So it's tremendous to bring in the NFL personnel that we've had this week to be able to see these small college guys that they don't get to see during the season, get to see them all in one place here at the Dream Bowl. There's nothing else like it. And I'm honored to be here, and I'm honored to be a part of this game. Yeah, I spoke to the guys about that as well. That when you fresh come out of college, that's really what the NFL is looking for, the guys that are fresh out of college. And this is a once in a life chance opportunity because the longer you've been out of football, it gets harder and harder to chase that dream. So, I just tried to get the guys to grasp the magnitude of the game, which the guys being young guys, and I brought in a lot of veteran coaches around them to kind of continue to push that point that, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. You got multiple NFL teams in one spot at the same time. You got some of the best from around the country to compete against. And I told the guys just to be proud of what you put on tape at the end of the day. Thank you very much.
Too much. Haven't done my taxes. I'm too turned up. Virgil.
Good morning. How are you? Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
All right, we're back. So I'm hitting the wrong buttons.
Yeah, see, man.
Well,
it's all good.
You've been mentoring kids and you've been sending the message. You've been on your coaching journey pretty much since you was in school, just paying attention and being a sponge. Did you graduate high school in 99?
No, I graduated in 95.
95, okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, you had a lot of traveling experience, a lot of experience with different teams. What is the biggest hurdle that you had to overcome going into that, making that transition to the NFL?
I would say the biggest hurdle for me would probably be coaches that have already made it to that pinnacle, reaching back to mentor me, assist me with getting an opportunity to prove myself. I found a lot of coaches on that level were kind of just tight fists with that opportunity. and didn't really want to like share it or open it up to a young coach. And so for me, that was an obstacle. You know, I did find a few guys that really stood out that were able to reach back and help me, but it wasn't even easy to find mentors.
Okay.
Yeah. And so what all positions did you coach while you was in the NFL?
So I was able to work with tight ends, running backs a lot, wide receivers, pretty much everything on offense. I even assisted the quarterbacks a little bit. But that was a cool thing about some of the coaches I worked under. Even with me being a young coach, they kind of threw me in the fire and let me do all the work, you know. And it was good. It was good growing pains, you know. It was a little bit intimidating at first to be in a positional meeting and have to do an install with Adrian Peterson, and you just got into the building, you know, 2 days ago, you know. So. But it was a good place to cut my teeth, and I came up under some coaches that were humble and kind of steered me in the right direction. Eventually, I was able to find those guys. Yeah.
All right. I got another clip I want to share with the audience. For everybody who's watching, make sure you subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify, Deezer, and Facebook. We have former Buffalo Bill coach Kirk Broussard. Let's go ahead and get into this clip. I don't own the rights to it. Stay with us, Kirk.
We are live in Orlando, Florida, and you're watching Twin Sports TV. And it's a live, uncut, unscripted segment where the cameras roll and anything goes. We here for the Youth Pro Bowl, and we getting it in with a whole lot of football. Hey, we got somebody special. We're going to talk to him for a second. Can you tell our viewers your name and what organization you represent?
I'm Kirk Broussard. I spent the last 6 years coaching in the NFL with 4 different NFL organizations. And, you know, LD is a good friend of mine, the founder of the game, and I'm proud to be out here to help him out and give back to the kids. I really enjoy it.
Hey, I like that. So did you play football back in the days in your time?
Yeah, I played on the high school level and the college level and a brief period on the pro level before I got injured and I became a coach.
All right. So what can these kids expect out here at this Youth Pro Bowl?
You know, it's going to be a fast game because we kept it simple with our play calling. We kept it simple for the guys to be able to learn really fast so they can play fast. So it's going to be exciting to have the kids, you know, have an opportunity to work with the caliber of coaches that we brought out. We have a number of coaches from the NFL, and it's great exposure for the kids to be able to play with those caliber of coaches and get that type of a knowledge. So the kids can just expect, you know, a great day and a lot of fun, you know.
All right. Now, you say you have a lot of NFL or former NFL players out here coaching these kids. How do they get these kids when they come from different parts of the United States? How do they get them to come together in such a short time and play at a high level?
Yeah, well, LD does a really good job with a recruiting department. So he has a scouting department that kind of scouts film on guys and evaluates guys. And I've been a big contributor to that as well because I do a summer camp for kids around the country, a football camp. So we pretty much travel. We hit 5 states with my camp. And the top kids from my camp, the top 10 kids usually are selected to play in this game. So that's kind of the way we can scout the country and find some of the elite kids to come down and be a part of this in Orlando.
I love it. Awesome. All right. So, look, our slogan on Twin Sports TV is get your game up. What do you do to stay on top of your game?
You know, I try to get a lot of relaxation and take trips.
Hey, I wish I could get some relaxation.
Spend time with my family, and my 3-year-old is like the biggest thing, you know, my wife. And so just try to spend a lot of family time. That's how I get my game up.
Hey, I love it. All right, we're looking at camera and telling everybody, say, get your game up.
Get your game up.
Woo!
Yeah, man, get your game up. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I like it.
That was a fun weekend.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
yeah, it looked like you had a great time.
Some of the kids from that game are in the league.
What?
Yeah, some of the
Shoot,
kids.
hey, come on to the podcast, man.
Yeah, man. Yep.
Speaking of the league, I got this clip of this guy that just got drafted a couple days ago. Tell me what you think, all right?
Okay.
Here we go.
TJ, you ready to come to Buffalo?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Listen, where you at right now?
I'm with my family up here in Blythewood.
Okay. All right, buddy. Well, y'all about to celebrate. We're just like when we talked in your 30 visit. You can get up here and show everybody what you do every single day. You got me?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. Here's Coach McDermott, and then we'll get you with our owner, Mr. Pagula. Hold on. Here's Coach McDermott.
TJ, congrats, buddy.
Hey, man, appreciate you, Coach.
You got it, man. Hey, listen, you're coming to a great place, man. Right, great community, great organization. We can't wait to get you here and work with you, buddy. Okay.
Man, so I'm excited, Coach. I really appreciate you, for real.
All right, hang on. I'm gonna put you on with our owner, Terry Pagula. Hang on.
Hey, TJ.
How we doing?
Welcome to the team.
Yes, sir. I'm happy to be here, man.
Oh, we're happy to have
Happy
you.
to be here.
We've been sweating out trying to get you for the last 20 picks. Okay? Who's that
Yes,
crying?
sir.
Your mom?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. I'll go let you talk to your new boss, our defensive coordinator, okay?
I got you.
TJ.
How we doing?
Congrats, man. You excited?
Man, am I? I appreciate you, Coach. I got you. I ain't never lied.
All right, I'm back. So there's T.J. Sanders from the University of South Carolina. I think he went to Marion High School, but he's here in Blythewood. Talk about this year's draft, man. What is your take before we running out of time? Talk about your take on the NFL draft, man. The Shedeur pick, real quick.
The Shedeur pick specifically?
Yeah.
I think he deserved to go higher than where he went, but I think it's a combination of his dad coming out making a statement saying we won't go here, we won't go here, we won't go here. I think that rubbed a lot of owners the wrong way. Those owners, most of them are pretty united. It's great to see that clip. Terry Pagula, that owner, I had a lot of good times with him. I actually have lunch with him a lot right there in the cafeteria. I don't know why he gravitated to me a lot, but he's a good man. Saw a few familiar faces still in that same building. But the Shedeur pick specifically, I feel like being so flamboyant, they call it confidence. Other people call it arrogance. That may have hurt him as well. I just don't think people, some people look at the Sanders family as like the Kardashians of football. A lot of media attention comes with that because they're so outspoken on stuff like that. So I don't know if teams want to like tie themselves to that kind of being out there like that. I'm a fan of a guy like Cam Ward, just more humble, quiet, just go to work. I felt like if Shedeur had Cam's personality and it wasn't attached with Dion and all that stuff that comes with that, I think he would have won the top 10. I really feel like that hurt him,
Yeah, I agree with that, man. Me and Jermaine, we've been talking about that through the whole draft, But it was tough to watch. But hey, somebody got to learn a lesson somehow.
The thing I like about Shedeur is his toughness. He'll stand in the pocket and he'll deliver some strikes.
Yeah, and take a blow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't know. If I were him, maybe I would have just stayed in college and got the NIL money because that's gonna be more money he's gonna get as a 5th round pick.
Hey, I'm trying to tell you that man, we said that too, man. Then we early.
Yep.
Should have stayed, man.
So
hey.
It's two ways you can look at it. Basketball is different. LeVar Ball talks a lot of stuff, but basketball can accept that kind of stuff. They're more accepting.
It's trash talking. Yeah, that's what they do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
So Kirk, what is your message to the youth?
My biggest message to the youth really would be specific to today's youth. And the thing, I see a lot of things with the youth that I don't like. I see a lot of things that I love. I like that they hone more in on their skills. A lot of them are bigger, faster, stronger. Obviously, with the evolution of training, and it's they've gotten bigger, faster, stronger. I love that, but I just don't love the impatience, the greed, chasing money in the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. I'm not a fan of that. I believe you get somewhere that's good to you, that provides good leadership, good coaching. Yes. And if you're not starting, you go work harder and go take somebody's job.
Not like we did back in the day.
Not jumping the transfer portal. I just feel like instant gratification is at an all-time high. Nobody want to weather the storm and have a little adversity.
They want it easy.
They want it easy. They want, and I don't like that direction. So my message to the young youth that are coming to that level would be learn to how to weather the storm. Learn how to stick it out when there's adversity and not be so quick to jump ship. Now, if you're in a bad situation, I can see one transfer. But when I see a kid that's been to 5 schools, 4 schools, that's ridiculous, man. So one thing that got me to the NFL as a coach would be my resilience, my persistence, and my first job as a coach. I left this story out. I was in the bathroom using the bathroom. The head coach of the Minnesota Vikings at the time was Brad Childress, and he came up to behind me in the bathroom stall while I'm doing my business, put his hands on me and said, "Hey, are you Kirk Broussard? I've been hearing about you." The head coach tells me this. He's like, "You're a persistent MFer," because I bugged the Minnesota Vikings for 5 years before they gave me an opportunity. 5 years. It was a bi-monthly call. It was a couple letters every year. I didn't like blow them up, but I still them for 5 years. Yeah, because I wanted it. I didn't care if it took me 10 years.
Oh yeah.
It's only so many times they can keep telling me no. Somebody gonna say yeah.
Yes,
and I used to spend $15 a year on stamps, sending out resumes to every NFL team. I got a stack of shoeboxes full of rejection letters, like you wouldn't believe, from all the teams that told me no. I got a rejection letter from the Detroit Lions the same year they hired me. So my message is to have staying power, fight adversity, persevere. That's my message to you.
Man. Hey, so are you having any shout outs as well before we head out?
Yeah, I would just shout out first of all my grandfather, because without my grandfather I wouldn't be here. My grandfather took the role as my father. He's passed away, but he was like the ultimate man for me, Albert Broussard. I want to shout him out. And then I want to shout out the coach, my mother as well, my wife and kids, my family. And then the biggest person I would shout out really for me would be the coaches that helped me. Coach Curtis Mockins, Coach Eric Bieniemy, Coach Leslie Frazier. Those are 3 guys that really stand out. And Coach Teddy Keaton, that really helped me in the football business.
Cool,
all right, man.
And Coach Brian Brents.
All right. Shout out to the coaches that help you along your journey. We'd love to have some of them on the show. If you know anybody with that pedigree like yourself, invite them. You can contact me or KJ. We'll have our information at the end of the show, okay?
I'll do that. I got somebody in mind already for you.
All right. Appreciate you, man. Thanks again for coming on, man. It means a lot.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity.
For everybody, you just joined a new edition of the Sports Shop 27. I'm your host, Jermaine Coulter. I'd like to thank my main man, KJ, former Clemson cornerback from 99 to 2002. And also today's special guest. This guy's worked his way around the NFL, persistent, and he's right now in the youth. If you need any type of development, you want to get in contact with him. Chris, where can the people contact you at if they want to go to a camp that you hosting?
CKB Sports, and I got several summer camps coming up this summer in Florida. We'll be in Tampa, we'll be in Pensacola, and they can go to CKB Sports on any social media.
All right, all right.
Well, you need anybody to help out with the camps? You know,
I do. I do need help. If you know anyone in the area,
okay,
write me off the show.
All right,
for sure.
Okay. All right.
Well, we appreciate your time, everybody that's watching. Appreciate you tuning in on this Sunday night. You know our motto: it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Until next time, we'll see you again. All right. All right. Peace and love, and y'all enjoy your Sunday night.
God bless.
Oh yeah.